Just in case you thought a film about ballooning was so much hot air, you're in for a very rude shock.
Oh, you right? David, pull the line in. Pull it in. Pull it in. Pull it in. Pull it in. Someone give me a hand, please. Pull on it.
Because this is the story of a balloon race that went very wrong. A balloon race in which the world's best flyers came together only to be thrashed by three lively girls from New South Wales. We follow their antics and meet the crazy characters of the outback as we dash from one side of Australia to the other.
Good day, mate. Good day, mate.
No. Good day, mate.
Good day, mate.
Good day, mate.
Join us now as we compete in our very own hot air affair.
My feelings are that this is going to be a lot of fun, and that's the main reason why we're going to do it. But
Ros Davies, 42 years old, mother of two, and chief pilot of a balloon so new it's never even been flown.
As of a couple of days ago, I'm your observer.
Jackie Colazar, flying for the first time in her life and responsible for feeding this all-girl Aussie crew.
Backup with retrieving the vehicle and keeping everyone sustained. So I'd like your orders now as to what you'd like for nibbles in between trips.
And Christine Mulligan, a veteran flyer from Australia's ballooning capital, Canowindra.
and I've been flying with Rosie for 5 or 6 years now, and we've had a lot of fun together, and that's why I'm coming on this race. Have a lot more fun.
Together, these girls and their ground crew, John and Greg, will challenge 77 of the world's most skilled ballooning teams in an exhausting competition right across Australia.
Right. We got Kalgoorlie, Norseman, then right across, Kimber, down to the Barossa Valley. Then we go Mildura, Broken Hill, across to Dubbo, and back home to Sydney.
This challenge is unique. Never in the 200-year history of hot air ballooning have flyers competed right across a country. In all, 600 people are taking part in a series of separate events, driving their huge balloons 6,000 kilometres from one side of Australia to the other. Ros and her team are out for a share of prize money, which totals $40,000. It's 5:30 in the morning. Already the pilots and crews are being briefed for their first early morning flight. We're at Kalgoorlie, the historic gold mining town on the edge of the vast Nullarbor Desert. Balloonists hate strong winds, and yet they'll be plagued by them for much of the weeks ahead. Look at that smoke, visible proof of just how strong the wind is here. Worse still, today, most of the competitors get lost before they even take off, failing to find their launch spot in the maze of mining tracks.
We have a local who knows the names of the streets here. See, we don't have those on our map. But he's part of the Tourist Bureau and knows all these. We know where we want to be on our map. He knows how to follow.
So many competitors lose their way that only 2 out of every 3 of them finally takes part. And for those survivors, there's the new challenge of picking the right launch site. Hot air balloons fly at the mercy of the winds, and the skill needed today is working out where to launch so you're carried right over a predetermined target. For Roz and her all-female Australian team, the added handicap is that this is her balloon's maiden flight.
Rosie should have the map. Where's the father, Rosie?
Retrieve number.
What about down here? What's this?
Let go.
Churned up. The wind was much too strong for any of us to fly, and yet here I was risking a brand new $30,000 balloon. Unfortunately, the winds changed direction after takeoff, blowing us away from the target and over the Great Boulder Mine.
The hot air currents of the desert can turn dangerous quickly. Watch now as US competitor Alan Frankel is suddenly swept skywards in a killer thermal. Horrified by that threat, Roz and the rest of the crews touched down quickly. Only 4 managed to fly anywhere near the target, leading competitors to the next grueling challenge, driving their balloons up to 700 rugged kilometres every day to the next event.
The variation of the drive and seeing the country this way for the first time and ballooning.
Don't know where, don't know when, but I know we'll meet again some sunny day.
Water comes in, leaches a lot of the minerals out of the surrounds, and it's because it's so vast. If there's a lot of water, this would just fill up, and then because of the high evaporation, just lose all the minerals, and all this white here.
So that's just salt.
Yeah. But that mirage there, that's many a man's died looking for that, I imagine.
But you do get the sensation that you are actually in a lake. I mean, I feel as though I'm
sure.
in a lake without the water.
Certainly no mirage as this Aussie bushman, crewing for a US team.
I've been cracking whips for about 58 years. I've been an old drover. I've been droving for about 35 to 40 years, and I've cracked the whip nearly all my life. I'm 73-year-old, and I love this country. Yes, I never sleep in a bed. I don't like beds. I just dig a hole from my bottom, and I just throw the swag in the ground and sleep. And I sleep all night, peacefully. I like the good high ceilings.
The long, hard drive finally begins to take its toll.
The lug's sheared off, the wheel. Lost the wheel. Brake pads are gone. Other than that, it's not a bad morning.
I was sitting in the back of the camper, and then all of a sudden he hit the brakes, slammed on the brakes, and I looked up, and all I could see was the whole thing was on its side, and there was just stuff flying everywhere.
It's not a job, it's an adventure.
As we limp our way across Australia.
Igor.
Yeah, welcome to Australia.
The gargantuan cliffs of the Great Australian Bight, stretching hundreds of kilometres. The powerful Southern Ocean below is constantly eroding the cliff face, with sections occasionally giving way. Roz does some very risky sightseeing.
There's nothing there. There's nothing there
There's nothing underneath you.
No. Right. You want to get off there, really. That's pretty dangerous.
Feels okay.
This would be developed by now back home because they wouldn't allow this to occur.
You'd have condominiums.
They'd have condominiums all up and down here and beach houses already. This is just wonderful. Very lucky.
After 5 long days of exhausting driving and ballooning, the entrants at last let their hair down. Strong winds had forced several flights to be cancelled. Tensions were running high until a party was organised smack bang in the middle of nowhere.
Oh, that's the Nullarbor steak, that one. It's got to have champagne and beer on it. It's called the wombat type steak. Like we like to pour the champagne on, it just brings out the flavour of the wombat. We hit them with a car. We run over them with a car, so you get them while they're warm. That's the way to go.
I'm 27, but, you know, it's been a hard life, you know. But we think the Australians have got everything sorted out. They have their priorities in order, that is party, and everything else seems to be secondary, and it's kind of hard to criticize that, actually. Great, having a great time. I've never been out in the middle of nowhere before like this. Down the middle of Nullarbor. I come all the way from New York.
Good day. How are you, mate? All right?
Good day, mate.
Konnichiwa. Good day, mate. Good day, mate.
No. Good day, mate.
Good day, mate.
Good day, mate.
They partied through the night till sunrise, feelings of relaxation that were to be quickly shattered because within 36 hours, many will be nursing bruises and broken bones.
Australian Balloon Challenge, and we do welcome you all here to Kimber, and we hope that you get in with the festivities and enjoy the day. For those of you that don't know where Kimber is between Sydney and Perth, about halfway. The brakes are on, all flaps are down. How wonderful.
Flying again. Here at Kimber, they're competing in an event known as the Hare and the Hounds, where this balloon will be chased by all of the other competitors. At the helm, Australia's Peter Council, a professional expedition organiser. Back on the ground, 61 teams are preparing to pursue Council. Precise timing here is vital. These competitors have to wait at least 10 minutes after the Hare balloon has been released before they can give chase. But then they have to be off the ground within 30 seconds of notifying officials. Failure to meet these strict rules means certain disqualification.
Come on, we've got 30 seconds. Go.
Our girls are amongst the first contenders away. Roz has made a very quick ascent, but now has to pull her dump line to let out some hot air to level out.
2, 3. I want to try and get a little bit more on his track. I'm too far to the left at the moment. Those guys are getting a little bit more west direction.
What Roz is doing now is searching for the right breeze to close in on the hair balloon. The winds blow in different directions depending on just how high you fly, and the expertise needed here is to pick the right altitude.
Quite a good direction. He's still a hell of a long way away.
Daryl Stewart, flying an Australian Army-sponsored balloon, is one of Roz's biggest opponents.
Is that you, Daryl? Yes. Hello there. And you're going back again. Bye-bye. I'm not sure. I just feel a little bit too far on the left. 135. Sorry? 135, which will be closer to the other side, so that should be quite good. What about, give us a couple of the others.
2,500's 140, 2,000's 172, 1,500's 163.
So it seems to me to be the really high ones that are going to swing around to
4,000's 100, goes back to 165.
Jackie's job is to plot the course and monitor the speed of the wind. It's picking up dramatically, and while there's no danger yet, there are growing fears about landing, fears that will prove well-founded. But first there's the task of throwing a marker over the spot where the hair balloon has landed.
We have to throw this little baby over the side and hit the cross in the centre. Which will be a real challenge in itself. Right? It's not too bad. Not too bad. I'll get some points. For my first attempt, that's not too bad. But we could have done better. We didn't do too bad. There's a few closer than me, though.
Move out.
Now, though, it's time to land. The wind is blowing at 20 knots, guaranteeing landings that will be fast and tough. Watching these dramatic touchdowns, Roz and crew are clearly worried. The rules stipulate they have to come down no more than half a kilometre from the target, regardless of conditions.
Okay, we're going to land just on the other side of the fence. Everyone ready? You ready, Damon? Quick, 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 quick. You ready? You ready? Hop that car, right? Are you right? Yep. Damon? Pull that line in. Pull it in. Pull it in, pull it in, pull it in. Someone give me a hand, please. Pull on it. Keep pulling, keep pulling, keep pulling, keep pulling. Keep pulling. Hands. Pull your boot. Can you straighten your burner up?
You all right?
Yeah. Yeah. Oh, God. Come away. That's a girl. Geez, you're a strong little woman.
Please stop. I mean, can we stop pulling, or do we need to get to that battle?
I always want to. Dirt for dessert. No, you're right, Dad, but hang on to it for a second. Well, I get out. Look at Dog, will you? Poor doggy. That's what you get when you go flying, my boy. Oh, wow. That was something fantastic. Oh. My goodness.
These peaceful after-flight moments are precious because in the flight ahead, some balloonists will be seriously injured.
Big wide.
5,000 people live around Kimber. Today, they all come together to throw our balloonists the biggest party the town has ever seen.
Everyone you throw will make you rich. Bears pass me white, the idol of me life, singing roller, 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 plenty of fish.
The children even turned on their own display of balloons. And in true Aussie style, a race of reluctant stumpy-tailed lizards.
Done, go! Hello, they all dropped out. Now what are they going to do, ladies and gentlemen? Number 7's backing out. Number 7, what's his name? Judge's report. Judge's report, is he going to make it? Judge's report, coming second to Broken Bookie. Judge's report, go through, he says. Go through. Judge's report, number 8. Judge's report. We've still got second and third, number 8. Number 8.
By evening, the celebrations are in full swing, starting with a beer barrel race. Display of costumes by the American crews.
This is a Mardi Gras party, I understand, and this mask was bought in New Orleans, Louisiana, USA.
It's a
There's a duty hat.
I call it the turd hat. It just kind of looks like cow droppings to me.
And a genuine old-time outback dance. Dawn at Kimber. The wind is already blowing at 15 knots, double the accepted safe maximum for takeoff. It's sheer madness to launch today, but many will take the risk anyway, threatening their balloons and their own lives.
There were guys this morning who took off, and if you stood next to them, you could almost smell the excitement, the adrenaline that they had in them, and you could see their faces, and they turned around to the crowd and they went, hey! Because they knew they'd gone past their limit. And that's exciting to see.
Many balloons are already damaged. Others collide on takeoff. All leave at very high speed, while the Japanese are up, up and back down. Roz's team confront problems of their own.
With these, this is called the crown of the balloon. We're having trouble with the Velcro tags on the crown. Each time we go to inflate the balloon, they're actually dragging out, and it causes a lot of the wind that's being blown into the balloon to come straight through it and doesn't allow it to bellow out. And it's partly because of the windy conditions that we're trying to launch this balloon in at the moment.
That morning in Kimber really was the first time as a team we really got it together, and we were working in conditions that were really putting us to the test, and to me that's what the challenge was all about.
Nice beautiful country to fly in, this. Wide open spaces.
commercially flying, you don't put people into a windy condition like this. It's just a no-go situation. This is a crazy situation that people flew in this. Well, legally in Australia, we're not allowed to fly over 12 knots, legally. And there was 15 knots there this morning or better. I think it's just a peer pressure thing that once one balloon went off, you know, just $20,000, let's say. That's all they're chasing.
As we were coming down, like we were having a sort of an angle to the paddock, and you could watch the paddock getting bigger and bigger, and as you came over the hills, the trees just seemed to scoot by, and next thing we hit, and then it's like this, it's sort of everything shudders through the whole basket goes wah, 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 wheels sort of hanging on, and then it's this frantic attempt to sort of drag that dump line down to get all the air out of the chute.
That was just unbelievable. We went to 4,600 feet, and we got a wind going right south and got straight on the track and came over the marker. Like, not quite over the marker, but just about.
Top 10, at least.
And look how far we've dragged. It was a very fast landing, very fast. I had Greg to help me with a little bit with the dump line because it was pretty tough. Just missed the fence. 72, 73, 74, 75 metres. That's quite a drag. That's probably about the longest I've ever had.
Landing was fantastic. And today we came over those trees, and Ross said, I just want you to touch them, just touch them, just touch them. And we zipped them over them, and as soon as we came over the top, I said, Ross, start ripping. And Peter and I just grabbed poles and stood there, and we came in for the loveliest landing, and three guys on Earth really got a lot of love out of what we did this morning.
For some crews, though, there's no love at all in these fast landings, just pain and suffering. Susanna Mielch from Denmark winds up with concussion and a broken ankle from one brutal landing. And Serge Barunius from France breaks his ankle in yet another crash. Both are hospitalised, with Susanna vowing she'll never fly again.
It's a shame, but it will happen. When we fly on minimum, or the other word, maximum conditions, then when you attempt to dare, when you go to the edge, then there's every chance you're going to hurt yourself. And sometimes if you don't go to the edge, what the hell is it worth living for?
The beautiful Barossa Valley, founded by devoutly religious German grape growers, and midway through our balloonists' exhausting dash from one side of Australia to the other. 600 flyers and their support teams are still taking part, and by now there's a big get-together every night.
There's no wind. Balloonists really don't like a lot of wind.
Aidan Wicks flies jumbo jets for a living, hot air balloons for a hobby.
And we know we can get airborne without burning our balloons. In competition, we get a little bit hyper, and when we get hyper, we start to burn balloons. This morning we're all hyper, but there's no wind. It's all go, go, go. Those magnificent men.
These ideal conditions provide the first opportunity since the challenge began for competitors to fly safely. The strong winds of the past week that had caused so many accidents held off all morning, allowing the teams the sheer pleasure of soaring to the clouds.
This is the best morning we've had, and all the balloons up there in the sunshine really make it worthwhile. Wow, look at this country open up. Isn't it magnificent? Fantastic.
world today, but the competition is still fierce. All 78 entrants are taking part in this flight, gaining points for dropping a marker near a target. For Aidan Wicks, there's the added friendly rivalry of challenging the balloonist he taught to fly, none other than our very own Ros Davies.
Now look at us. All I got to do is throw it at the right time or we can hit the cross. Now, Aidan, throw. Too soon. Could have been a lot closer. Great stuff, team. Great stuff. Hey-oh!
Oh, look at that. Right on top, right in the middle of the crop. Jumbo, straight in the middle.
And for his precise aiming, top points are awarded to one of the other Aussie teams. Pilot Mark Wilson on the left is only 21 years old, and congratulating him is the world ballooning champion, American David Levin, who's leading the field in this Trans-Australia endurance race.
Video camera, I got great footage today, so at least I got something out of it.
On the road again, this time to more drama. Ros in hospital while a US entrant catches fire. The silver mining city of Broken Hill. Competitors have now driven 4,000 grueling kilometres since leaving Perth. Driving and flying flat out, now their established daily pattern.
Beautiful morning, beautiful. Now, as far as wind direction here is concerned, it is fairly steadily around the 160, as you can see.
Wally Williams, the competition's official meteorologist, and increasingly the butt of jokes about his forecasts.
You have fine, wonderful conditions, which is the answer to your...
Wally?
Yes?
You've told us what the weather's like inside the Pantech. What's it like out here?
There's no doubt about these boys, they're getting clued up.
Wayne, it's shaping up to be a fabulous day today, isn't it? Fantastic day, actually. A little bit windy, as we said before, but today heading for a top of 21 degrees, and it's very clear.
Again, the winds are far too strong, threatening more dangerous landings, and yet giving the residents of Broken Hill a show like they've never seen before.
Yeah, it's a long time before you see it like this again.
Great, absolutely fantastic, unbelievable.
Look at this one come across here, LBS, look.
Olympic.
It's going like a rocket.
The wind has picked up even more speed, blowing at 20 knots and providing a race on the ground as support teams try to keep up.
Weather, luck, skill, that's everything. And weather's got to be right when you take off, and especially when you land. It's extremely dangerous if it's not. We were trying to land at 20 to 25 knot winds the other day. We had some bad injuries. That's where skill comes in. When you land this balloon in a high wind, which you shouldn't do in the first place, but if you're forced to, you better know what you're doing.
I was tracking a balloon. He was in the sun and I had his shadow as I was going down the road. And I was doing 30 miles an hour with the balloon shadow over me all the way.
It's hard to pick the right spot. All the time you're thinking to yourself, can I do better than this? Can I find somewhere better to land? But ultimately, once you make the decision, you've just got to do it, and no holds barred.
In one of these rough landings, Ros drags her head through a field of prickly salt bushes, damaging one of her ears.
We landed really heavily and...
Oh, I did about an 80-metre drag.
About an 80-metre drag, and about halfway through the drag, Ros got something in her ear. She sort of started saying, my ear. So we sent her back in a earlier car to go to the doctors to get checked out.
As soon as I hit the ground, I completely lost my hearing. I mean, as soon as it went in, I completely lost my hearing.
On one side of it?
On one side. And now it feels like it's gone on the other side. We were just rolling. It was a real washing machine situation this morning. But the landing went reasonably well itself. I mean, we turned over and over and over. It's the first time I've actually witnessed it happening, of this sort of rolling around and the sides of the basket switching.
Back in the desert, many of the other competitors have landed well away from the road, and they and their crews are having trouble finding each other.
I think all in all, everybody that flew, it was an adventure. And it's an adventure when you chase, because you've got a lot of country there to try and find one little balloon. A balloon looks awfully small when it's on the ground and you're looking for it.
Now, if we're here at sunset, would you send out somebody with some relief supplies and a tent? We're not so sure how long we're going to be here. No, they'll find us eventually.
Released from hospital at last, Rolls and gang explore the ghost town of Silverton. Some balloonists try out alternative transport, while English pilot David Partridge falls for the old funnel in the pants prank.
Somebody there. There he is. Oh, you got a good one there.
Back in Broken Hill, an unofficial contest that almost ends in tragedy. On top of this post is a silver ingot worth $8,000. Two of the Cross Australia challengers decide to try to pick it up. Jerry Elkins in the Rough Riders balloon from Wyoming, USA, makes a low swoop. In trying to scoop up the silver ingot, he loses height too quickly and is swept straight into the side of a house. Collision, Jerry's burners set alight to the main envelope. Strips of burnt balloon fall to the ground. The house he smashes into shows signs of the force of the impact.
Well, there were seen to be 2 or 3 side panels that actually caught alight, because when he come across here and jagged down the roof, the burner was pointing straight at the floor. And it was going full chat. I reckon there was about 5 or 6 feet of flame shooting out of the burner, but it wasn't pointing at the balloon, it was pointing at the ground. And then when he eventually got it to point at the balloon, he set fire to the outside panels.
So this is a bit of balloon here. See? It's a bit of a shame, but no, it's a bicentennial and all that. You know, people almost die on bicentennial day. Yeah, you know, it's true.
Jerry Elkins and his co-pilot, meanwhile, are still flying. Both men have been badly hurt and yet still have to land their stricken balloon.
Oh, yeah. You know, stuff happens.
What happened with the landing?
Worried.
How did that happen?
Jerry injured several ribs in that crash, but went on to compete in the final events of this now legendary race across Australia. They're nearing the end of this historic journey. Ironically, it's at Dubbo, only 400 kilometres from the finish line in Sydney, that Roz and the 73 entrants still competing find their best flying conditions. Gentle breezes, clear skies.
certainly got to see some of Australia. The perspective you get flying is just so different to driving. I think you get the immensity of the countryside.
Crucial points are still being awarded for today's contest, but already there's speculation that Roz, Chris and Jackie are amongst the leaders.
The other great thing is it's not just been scenic Australia. We haven't come and flown over Ayers Rock every day. We've actually seen more of real Australia, I suppose. You know, mining towns and outback settlements and stations and, you know, a much more composite view of the country than perhaps you would in any other way.
The crew from Continental release a small one-man balloon known as a cloudhopper. Other and baby balloons drift together for much of the morning. Near-perfect conditions, the teams are able to fly close together, all coming near the final marker.
Look at the markers, there's hundreds of them.
This weather is what balloonists dream of, far removed from the strong winds which have plagued them in the weeks before. It's been a challenge packed with drama, crash landings, broken bones. But it's also produced fine memories of a unique spectacle spanning 6,000 kilometres of stunning outback Australia. And above all, it's been good fun. Friendships formed, laughs galore.
Isn't it lovely?
The bell ringing.
I picked up a couple of passengers on the way.
Finally, for Roz, Chris and Jackie, the award they've worked so hard for. Outright first among the all-women crews and a high placing against the men.
Number 9, Roz Davies from New South Wales. The winner, team number 3, first in the competition, David Levin.
I hope you miss. Go on. Lovely.